Hey, folks, glad you could be here. I am Dr. Joe Esposito. What we're going to talk about today are allergies. Now, many people get confused, and I have this happen all the time in my offices. Patients come in and they say, well, Dr. Joe, I have allergies. And I say, okay. And I say, how do you know it's allergies? Well, I guess it's just allergies. I don't know why I know it. It just is. And I said, okay, so that's an issue. Why do you think it's an allergy? How do you know it's not a cold? How do you know it's not a flu? Is it a seasonal allergy? Is it an environmental allergy? Is it a food allergy? And let me give you some definitions first. An allergy, a true allergy, is when your body produces antibodies to an allergen. So what that means is your body produces these specific white blood cells to attack whatever this foreign protein is that's in your body. So it could be pollen. It could be wheat. Could be dairy. Could be poison ivy. So your body's having an allergic reaction because it's producing these specific white blood cells. A sensitivity is very similar to an allergy. Basically the same symptoms, but if I did blood work on you, I'm not going to find these specific antigens, these specific white blood cells. Either way, the symptoms are about the same. I eat wheat, I have an allergy, my sinus is going to run, I'm going to get digestive problems, I have a sensitivity, pretty much the same thing. So really it's semantics as to what we're playing with here. Now in a true allergy, you can have what's called anaphylactic shock, where you go into serious, you can't breathe and it can kill you, where sensitivity, you're probably not going to have that as much. But either way, I want you to understand what these things mean, and it's mostly semantics. Now, how do you know it's not a cold? How do you know it's not the flu? Because every symptom or every title I can give you is going to have some different guidelines you want to follow to diagnose it. So, cold, usually do a virus, rhinovirus. It gets into the body, you'll have runny nose, you'll have watery eyes, you'll have sore throat. Fever, you're going to start to get with a fever, it's the flu. So we can measure body temperature, and if we start seeing fever, body aches, we're looking at the flu. We're seeing runny nose, sore throat, more like a cold. Either way, no matter what you want to call it, we always want to do one thing when it comes to a healthcare condition, and that's get to the cause of the problem and not just treat the symptoms, because that's what so many people do. They just treat the symptoms. I have the flu. I have a cold. I have allergies. I'll take an antihistamine, or I'll take something to unclog my sinuses, and that helps. I mean, if I have a sore throat, if I have a headache, I have no problem taking something to help me with the symptoms. However, I always want to ask the question, why do I have this? And what can I do to fix it? So that's what we're going to talk about today, is what do you need to do to stop these things from happening? And if they do happen, how to lessen the impact. And that's really the key. It's kind of neat. As I was walking in today, I saw one of my coworkers in the parking lot. And he looks at me, he says, "You've scared the heck out of me." It's a family show. And I looked at him, I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I'm down 100 pounds. A lot of it thanks to you." And I said, "Well, tell me more." He said, "I'm doing organic coffee now." He says, "I stopped doing my diet sodas because you scared the heck out of me when you talked about aspartame and how dangerous aspartame is." He says, "Now I'm drinking soda with stevia in it." And I said, "Yeah, it's not quite as good as the real stuff." He looks at me, he goes, "I'm going to disagree with you on that." He goes, "I like it even more." So what happened, he says, "You have educated me for so many years that I finally heard what you were saying, and I'm willing to do what you said." And he says, "Look at me." He says, "I'm going for a checkup next week, and I'm actually a little concerned because the doctors are going to think there's something wrong with me." He says, because nobody really says they're going to lose weight and actually does. He's down 100 pounds. So if you do what I say, it works. Now, sometimes I got to beat you over the head with this information before it finally sinks in, as with my coworker, Shaney. And he said, I had to hear it 100 times until I finally got it. And that's what I'm doing. I'm going to go over this over and over and over again. And if you didn't get it the first time, no matter what the topic is, and we have hundreds of hours of shows archived on my website, go to my website. Pick out some topics or listen to all thousands. I think we have over 1,000 hours now or close to it. Listen to 1,000 hours of radio shows. And you're going to hear some things repeated over and over again, but a lot of things are going to be new to you. And eventually, I promise you, it's going to sink in. The human brain usually has to hear something 11 times before we memorize it. It's a song, for example. I know I went to go hear a song composer the other day, Jimmy Webb. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's written like every hit song you've ever known. He wrote a lot of Glenn Campbell songs. He wrote MacArthur's Park. He wrote The Worst That Could Happen by, I think it was Brooklyn Bridge. I think he wrote the theme from Love Story. I mean, just an amazing man. And he was at a presidential library not too far from my office. And I went there, and it was really cool to hear his story. Came up from nothing, really poor, wrote all these songs, these number one hits. And I liked the song MacArthur's Park. Never knew what it was about. Finally, he explained what MacArthur's Park is about. And it's a real story. It's a story of him and an old girlfriend breaking up, and they break up at MacArthur Park in Los Angeles. And he looks around him, and the relationship is melting like the cake melting in the dark. And so anyway, that's not where I'm going with this. But once I started listening to the words of MacArthur's Park, I listened to it 11 times, kind of revitalized my interest in the songs. Now I know what it means, and now I know all the words. But I didn't get it until I heard it several times. And that's what you have to do with these radio shows. That's what you have to do with my lectures. That's what you have to do with my books. You have to go over it several times because you've been so brainwashed, if that's the right word, to believe something, because advertising, this is how advertising works, you have to hear something over and over again in order for it to become in your memory. And next time you're out, say, I want to buy that soda. I want to buy that butter. I want to buy that popcorn. Advertising works on repetition. So does education. So whether you want to learn the words to a song or you want to learn how to be healthy, go to my website if you want to learn how to be healthy, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe. And we have thousands of hours of radio, 1,000 hours, I think, of radio shows. We have videos of my live lectures. Some people like to watch the videos. And it's all no charge. My articles are there that I've written, all no charge. You can sign up for a newsletter I send out. It's no charge. Just send me your email address. I'll put you on the list. Lots of good information. And the reason I'm saying all this, before I get into the whole thing about how to deal with allergies, is if you're serious about wanting to get well, these are the tools that you have to do. There's no other way around it. And I give it to you at no charge. It's my gift to you. So the website, again, drjoeesposito.com. So let's go back to allergies, because I got a couple of little tangents there I went off on. The allergy is not the problem. It's the cause of the allergy that's the problem. The runny nose isn't the problem. It's what's causing the runny nose. The allergen is not the problem. Otherwise, we'd all have the same reaction. So if you inhale, I don't know, gasoline, you'll get sick. Doesn't matter who you are, you're going to get sick. Now, if everybody had a reaction to wheat, or everybody had a reaction to pollen, obvious reaction, then it wouldn't be an allergen, it would be a toxin. But different people respond differently. So the way you respond to what you're being exposed to determines what kind of symptoms you're going to have. So allergies are a symptom. Your body is either toxic or the immune system needs to be normalized. And that's the key. Your immune system is not responding to something that isn't life-threatening, but it is responding as if it was life-threatening, and sometimes it over-responds. And when that happens, you might have an autoimmune condition. You've heard of autoimmune conditions, rheumatoid arthritis. Even AIDS is an autoimmune condition where the body is responding, overreacting to a condition. So we want to normalize the immune system, not stimulate, not suppress, but normalize. So what are some symptoms that you might have with allergies? Well, you think of the ones, the nasal congestion, the coughing, the wheezing, the itching, the hives, the rashes. How about headaches? How about joint pain? How about fatigue, depression, digestive problems, ADD, hemorrhoids, acne, arthritis, asthma, colitis, insomnia, dark circles under the eyes, diarrhea, PMS, colds, chronic ear infections, recurring illnesses? All of these can be related to allergies. Wow. So I'm going to teach you the things that you need to do to identify what the problem is and then what you need to do to fix it. It's not hard. It's really easy, actually. So the easy way to determine whether you have an allergic reaction to something, whether it's food or perfume, pay attention. This is important. I'm going to teach you how to test yourself see if you're having an allergic reaction, and it's free. You like that word, don't you? Free. The F word on radio. Free. I want you to avoid the suspected whatever it is, whether it's perfume, wheat, dairy, food, artificial sweetener, caffeine, whatever it is. I want you to stay away from it for 4 days. Then I want you to expose yourself to a moderate amount of it on an empty stomach. And the reason I say an empty stomach is because I don't want this test to be skewed by something else you were exposed to. So let's assume I want to test to see if I have a reaction to dairy products. No dairy, zero dairy, not even a drop for 4 days. On the 5th day, when I wake up in the morning on an empty stomach, I'm gonna take my pulse. And what I'll tell you to do is just take your pulse at your wrist or at your neck, however you do pulse, count it for 30 seconds, multiply by 2. That's how many beats per minute you have. Then I want you to expose yourself to a moderate amount of this. We're going to use dairy here. So have yourself a couple of pieces of cheese. Wait about 5 minutes, sit down and relax. Wait about 5 minutes and take your pulse again. If it goes up more than 3 to 5 beats per minute, you're having a reaction to that food. And you can do this with anything. You can do it with perfumes. I've had patients come in, and this new trend now is these wristwatches that you can wear to monitor your health levels. And I've had people coming in, and I'm a chiropractor, and they come into our chiropractic offices, and my doctors are adjusting them. We're working on the nutrition, and we're just not getting the results that I wanted, and I can't figure out why. So what I do then is I say, all right, let's see what else we're being exposed to. And one lady I just remember recently, and this happened several times. She was wearing one of these watches. I took the watch off, and I said, let's test your muscles. And I tested her muscles, and she was weak. I took the watch off. She was strong. Put the watch back on. She was instantly weak. So that's another way you can test to see if you have a reaction, but you need somebody to help you with that. So I took her off her watch. I said, don't wear your watch for a couple of weeks. She responded tremendously. So the electromagnetic field that was created by this watch was creating a weakness in her body. And if you want to test anything, whether it's a watch, a perfume, food, you can even test a person, to be honest with you. Again, avoid whatever it is for 4 days. Empty stomach, take your pulse, count it for a minute, expose yourself to whatever it is, wait 5 minutes, take your pulse again. If it goes up more than 3 to 5 beats per minute, chances are you're having a reaction to it. Pretty cool, huh? So you should always be alert to the symptoms of the food intolerances or whatever perfume intolerances: rashes, fatigue, insomnia, headaches, joint pain, scratchy throat, runny nose. So if you start having these things, I want you to start analyzing yourself and saying, what am I doing wrong? Something's wrong here. I don't know what it is. Let's see if we can figure it out. And then you start doing a little investigation. And when I was studying, I have five board certifications. I'm board certified in chiropractic, orthopedics, pain management, and double board certified in nutrition. And I remember talking to my orthopedic instructor. I did 5 years postgraduate study in orthopedics after I graduated graduate school. And he said, if you don't know it exists, you can't diagnose it. So if you don't realize that this runny nose is not normal, if you don't realize this joint pain, this fatigue is not normal, you don't know how to start diagnosing it. So a couple of different things that may be going on in your body. The culprits of biochemical stresses. Now, this is not just food. How about perfume, deodorants, soaps, detergents, cleansers, paint, carpeting, metals, watches? Now, is it truly an allergy if somebody has a weakness to a watch? Probably not. You're probably not producing white blood cells. Or if you are, we haven't figured out a test to test for that yet. But you look for the symptoms. You look for the sensitivity symptoms. So if you're using things like perfumes, I want you to do this with the perfume. Stop using it. Throw it away. Commercial perfumes do many things to your body. I've told a story, I think, before. I was on a date a while ago with a gal, and she was just gorgeous. And I was just so excited to go out with this girl, and she's just... So I picked her up, and she got in my car, and she had on perfume. And within 5 minutes, I couldn't even breathe. I had the windows open. I'm trying to breathe. I'm thinking, wow, I finally got this girl to go out with me. This is amazing. Couldn't even breathe. And about 20 minutes into it, I said, listen, this is going to sound horrible. I said, but I can't breathe around the perfume. I'm really sorry. And I had to take her home and never saw her again because she was offended by that. And I thought, wow, what a bummer. But how many people have these reactions and don't even realize it's their perfume that they're using? It's their deodorant that they're using. It's the hairspray, the shampoo, the air fresheners, the carpet cleaners, the kitty litter smell that people are having reactions to and don't realize it, because perfumes have a chemical in them called phthalates. Phthalates, P-H-T-H-A-L-A-T-E-S. And phthalates are endocrine disruptors. So not only can it cause a sensitivity reaction, it can mess with your hormones. It can actually essentially raise your hormones like your estrogen. And estrogen is a growth hormone. Now, most of us don't need any more estrogen. We need less estrogen. And you're exposing yourself to this estrogen, which is an abnormal cell growth stimulator, and then it essentially counteracts testosterone. It can cause muscle weakness, and not just your biceps and your triceps. How about your heart? How about your colon? How about your blood vessels? How about your reproductive organs? These are all muscles. And the muscles now are getting weaker and weaker. And you didn't understand why. You're working out. You're just not seeing the results. Gosh, I'm getting enough sleep, and I'm tired all the time. Try not using anything with an artificial scent. Shampoos, conditioners, hairsprays, deodorants, toothpaste. And see if it helps. And here's my statement on that. If it doesn't help, so what? Didn't help. But if it does help, which it will, you'll say, wow, I had no idea that my scented deodorant was causing me to be tired all the time or giving me headaches or making me have brain fog. Now think of the financial consequences of brain fog every day, the social consequences, the family issues that may arise because you're tired all the time and your brain is foggy because you decided you want to wear perfume. If you want to wear something that is a fragrance, try essential oils. Essential oils are fine, and they have different ones. Some stimulate, some suppress, some are aphrodisiacs, some for depression. Some stimulate the immune system, some suppress the immune system, so you can try different essential oils. So chemically, there's a lot of things that are happening that can affect your health. Physically, may be compounding it. You may have pinched nerves. And if you have a pinched nerve going to your neck, you might have neck pain or headaches or shoulder pain or blurred vision. But those nerves also control organs. So now you're exposing yourself to a toxin, whether you're having an allergen or allergic reaction or a sensitivity, essentially the same thing, symptom-wise. And you have a pinched nerve going to an organ, now your body is really in deep doo-doo. And we got to get in there and fix it. So as a chiropractor, when patients come in our offices, we work on checking for pain. We check on pinched nerves that don't feel pain, because 90% of your nerves don't feel pain in the body. And then we check their diet, make sure their digestive system is working, and then we have a healthcare plan. Not an insurance plan, a healthcare plan. So, folks, if you want to make an appointment to come see us, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. I would love the opportunity for my team of doctors to be your team of doctors. So if you'd like to come see us, go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe with the number one Dr. Joe in the world, and we will set up a time for you to come see us. We accept people with all insurances. We accept people without insurance. Car accidents. Folks, I have never seen a car accident where the car was damaged where the occupants weren't. Ever. So if you're in a car accident, you say, well, I was hurt a little bit or I don't have a lot of pain yet. You will. Get it fixed. The sooner you do it, the better. I have people, a lot of radio show listeners, they'll get in an accident, call my office and say, Dr. Joe, I need to come see you right away. I was just in a car accident. And they'll come in. I said, any pain yet? No, not yet. We'll do an exam and all these things start to pop up. Trust me. So if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, if you're ready to get well, go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe with the number one Dr. Joe in the world, and we'll make you an appointment as soon as possible. Again, offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. So as we continue talking about allergies, there's also environmental allergies. Things like mold, grasses, pollen, dust, animal hair, insect venom. So those are the ones that most people associate when I say the word allergy. Well, Dr. Joe, the flowers are blooming. Or, it's the ragweed. And you're inhaling this. Now, if you inhale any type of particulate matter or particles, dust, it's going to irritate your sinuses. But in your sinuses, you have defense mechanisms. You have mucus. You have hair. And the hair is designed to trap any physical contaminant. And the mucus is designed to trap it and then flush it out of your system. The problem is when it gets past the barriers into your body. Also, when you eat, there's a lot of these toxic chemicals and environmental irritants in the food. So in theory, saliva starts to break down carbohydrates. Your stomach has acid in it, pepsin and pepsinogen, which break down proteins, which are the allergens. Then it goes into your small intestine, the food. And in your small intestine, you produce more protease, more enzymes to break down the proteins. And if your colon is healthy, then it passes through and you're fine. But if your colon is weak, if it's inflamed because you eat a lot of bad foods, what I call the 7 deadly sins, alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, artificial sweetener, and then breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas, and you start doing these things, and the colon becomes inflamed and can actually get little holes in the colon. And when you get a little hole in the colon, we call that leaky gut syndrome. And the reason is some places in your colon, the colon wall is only a cell thick. And so if it's only a cell thick, it can tear holes, these big chunks of undigested protein, because you didn't chew your food, your stomach isn't working properly, your pancreas isn't producing the protease like it's supposed to, the enzyme to break down protein. It gets absorbed into the blood system or in the lymphatic system. The immune system senses that there's a foreign protein there, and it attacks. And it sends out the cavalry. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And the cavalry attacks it, and then it has to get rid of this protein that it just attacked. And it gets rid of it through mucous membranes in the body, the quickest way to get rid of toxins. So it might come through your sinuses, might come through your colon, your throat. And so there you're having your allergic reaction because the body's trying to get rid of this junk. And if you have a weak immune system, which a lot of us do because we are exposed to bad foods and bad chemicals, maybe doctors did things to you that now we're finding out we shouldn't have done, like remove tonsils. Now, some people need to have their tonsils removed, so I'm not going to say all tonsil removal is bad. But when I was a kid, way back when, you had a scratchy throat, pop out your tonsils. You had a runny nose, pop out your tonsils. It was the cool thing to do, man. Just pop them out. Quick surgery. Doctors made a couple of bucks. They gave you some ice cream. You're on your way. Now, your tonsils are one of your immune organs. So my tonsils are inflamed, so let's just remove them. Why don't we remove the cause of the inflammation, not remove the tonsils? It's like shutting off the fire alarm instead of putting out the fire. Doesn't make any sense. Now, again, some people need to have their tonsils removed, but you'll notice in modern days, if you're old enough, everybody had their tonsils removed. And, if you're my generation, the newer generation, not so much. Because the doctors realized, oh, wait a minute, that's an important organ. Like the appendix. We used to pull out appendix in Georgia. From what I understand, it used to be a law that if you had abdominal surgery, they had to remove your appendix. Now, that was a while ago, and I've heard this through the grapevine. I'm assuming it's true. Because the appendix didn't have any need to be there, and it's going to rupture. It may rupture in the future anyway, so let's just pull it out. Now it turns out your appendix produces anti-carcinogen molecules. It fights cancer. So you weren't born with extra parts. It's not like you ordered something off the internet and it came with an extra screw and a bolt in case you broke one. So now we're realizing maybe we shouldn't be just pulling things out arbitrarily. And I'm glad we've come to that evolution in healthcare. So you don't want, if you had these things pulled out, you're at more of a risk. I have patients come in all day, every day. I had my gallbladder removed, doc. Oh, did they ever mention that your risk of heart disease goes up dramatically when you have your gallbladder removed because you're not digesting fats properly? No, nobody ever told me that. Oh. Now you have to be extra careful because you don't have a gallbladder. You have to be extra careful because you don't have tonsils. And you have to be extra careful because today's modern times, gosh, I sound like the old man when I was your age. But in modern times, we're exposing ourselves to so many more chemicals and potential allergens than we ever were before. Because we have perfumes and hairsprays and carpet cleaners and what do you call it? The chemical you spray on your furniture to protect it. In fact, I had a friend of mine, she just bought a new chair, and she says, oh, my God, I'm so excited. I can't wait to go to the store and spray this chemical on it. I said, do you know that chemical is an endocrine disruptor? And every time you sit on your couch or your chair, little particles of dust are released from the couch, and you're inhaling those particles, and that can affect your health? I didn't know that. So then she asked me, is there such a thing as a natural guard that you can put on your furniture? And my answer was, I don't know that. So I'm going to have to research that. Yes, every now and then somebody stumps even Dr. Joe with questions. And so there's environmental chemical allergens, and then there's food allergens. Of course, the big seven: alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. And then we got to look at wheat, corn, eggs, oranges, chocolate, shellfish, strawberries, yeast, additives, dyes. It's got a lot to talk about. I'm going to run out of time pretty soon, but we're going to cover it. We're going to continue covering it, so don't worry. Don't get nervous. I want to talk about some biomechanical stresses that can cause it, then some suggestions that you need to do to resolve these issues. And it's not hard. It's easy. And when you start doing it, you're going to be amazed at the results. And you're going to say, like all my other patients say, why didn't I do this sooner? It's got a lot more to talk about. Folks, if you want to make an appointment to come see us, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We're chiropractors. We can do nutrition workups. We can do an allergy workup on you. We can test your digestive system if you have acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating. Many times that's your stomach pushed up into your diaphragm. And so we manually adjust or pull the stomach away from the diaphragm. Then as chiropractors, we check the spine. We want to see if there's any pinched nerves that might be causing your back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, headaches, numbness, tingling. So if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, if you're ready to get well, we want to be your doctors. Go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe with the number one Dr. Joe in the world, and we will set you up a time to come see us. And we accept people with all insurances. We accept people without insurances. We accept car accidents, sports injuries, workers' comp injuries. I've never seen a car damaged where the occupants weren't. So, folks, if you're ready to get well, whether it's actually for an issue, you just want to get wellness, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe. We're going to be right back. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe here. Glad you could spend a little time with me. I do appreciate that. And we're talking today about allergies. And is it really an allergy? Is it a cold? Is it flu? And we talked earlier about how to diagnose the difference. And if you missed it, by the way, I archive all my shows on my website, drjoeesposito.com. Because so many times people, I understand you're in your car, whatever, you're listening to radio, you may not have time to listen to the whole show. And every day I get emails from people saying, well, Dr. Joe, you were talking about whatever, and I really enjoyed that, but I didn't get to listen to the whole show, and then they ask me questions about it. So then I'll say, well, here's my website, drjoeesposito.com. Go to media, go to radio shows, look up the date that you heard the show or whatever, the title of the show, really, because sometimes the dates, we move them around, and you can hear the whole show. So if you want to do that, just go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, and just Google Dr. Joe. Now, if you have questions, I'm more than happy to answer your questions. You can send me emails, and I'm more than happy to answer your question. But it may just save a step if we do that. So we talked about chemical stresses that can cause allergies, perfumes, deodorants, soaps, detergents, hairsprays, environmental, mold, grasses, pollen, dust, animal hair, and then food. And the number one food allergen or food sensitivity, again, allergy is when your body produces antibodies to a certain protein. Sensitivity, similar, but you don't have the antibodies, basically the same symptoms. And the number one, absolutely by far, food allergen is, drumroll please, dairy products. I haven't had dairy products in over 30 years. I'm not asking you to be a vegan. I'm asking you to make better choices. So I want you to think about that. How can I make better choices when it comes to my health? And I always talk about start with giving up the 7 deadly sins: alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. Then start looking at adding good foods to your diet: fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. Now, some fruits can cause reactions. Oranges, strawberries, those are the two biggies. Corn, eggs. So just be careful with that, and just notice, and this is a real simple thing, notice how you feel after you expose yourself to a chemical. I know I can't do caffeine. If I do caffeine, I get a headache. And I was somewhere a while ago, and somebody said, oh, Dr. Joe, you have to try this. It's a vegan German chocolate cake. It's all organic. It's no dairy products. Oh, my gosh, please just take a couple of bites and tell me what you think. So I was being respectful, and I shouldn't have been. And I had about 2.5 bites, essentially. Next day, boom, blazing headache. Chocolate has caffeine, which gives me headaches. And I thought 2 bites isn't going to do anything. It did. So start noticing it. Now, if you want to keep your own chart, go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, and under patient forms, you'll see something called a diet diary. Print it up. It's free. It's my gift to you. And what I want you to do is this. Start writing down everything you eat. When I say everything, everything. Had a patient come in the other day. She had interstitial cystitis, and she's chewing gum. And I said, what kind of gum is that? And she told me it was sugar-free gum. And I said, artificial sweetener can irritate your bladder. It's when the bladder, it hurts to pee, basically, really, really, really bad. And I said it can irritate the bladder and urethra, so you really want to cut that out. And she said, I never heard that before. No one ever told me that. And I said, you need to listen to more of my radio shows, because we're constantly giving you these pearls of wisdom that you can use every single day in your life and with your friend's life and your family. Maybe it's your kids who have headaches, and you realize, oh my gosh, every time I give Bobby chocolate, he gets a headache. I never put those 2 things together before. Or maybe it's alcohol or whatever, cigarette smoke, perfume. Perfumes kill me. So consider printing up the symptom survey, a diet diary, print it up, and start writing down what you eat and then how you feel. And you'll be amazed in a couple of days, you should see a pattern start to develop, and you'll say, wow, every time I eat dairy products, I get constipated. Or every time I have wheat, my sinuses run. And then just don't do it. So eating more fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, that's where we left off, is probably a good thing. Just be careful, like peanuts. A lot of people have peanut allergies. And if you have a herpes virus in your body, and chances are you do, there's about 100 different types of viruses, peanuts are high in arginine. Arginine can actually stimulate herpes outbreaks. So whether it's oral, genital, shingles, other types, if you're eating peanuts and getting a reaction, chances are that you shouldn't be eating peanuts. because of the arginine content. Cashews, to a lesser extent, also have arginine, but peanuts are the biggie. And I can't tell you how many people have come to me over the years. Dr. Joe, I just started going to baseball. It's baseball season, and I got my herpes outbreak. Or I went to the circus. I had herpes outbreak. Well, why do you think that is? What is the thing you usually don't eat that you do eat at a ball game or a circus? Peanuts. I'm not a big fan of peanuts. If you're going to do peanuts, I don't think you should. But if you do, you want to do organic, and you want to do Valencia. Because Valencia peanuts are the only ones that don't have what's called a mycotoxin, which is a fungus that grows on the peanuts, which many times causes the allergic reaction. So, but just stay away from peanuts is a much better choice. And some people with tree nuts have issues, almonds, cashews. You ever see cashews? Really cool. I was in Peru one time, and used to travel like crazy. And I was on a eco-tourism thing. And it's neat. It's a flower that grows, and out of the middle of the flower grows the cashew in the shell. And each flower has one cashew on it. And the reason you never see cashews in the shell, useless information. I'll go back to what I'm talking about in a second, I promise. The reason you never see cashews in the shell. You see pistachios in the shell, peanuts in the shell, almonds in the shell. Why do you never see cashews in the shell? Because when you break open the shell, there's an oil that's on the cashew that's toxic to humans. So we have to roast them to heat off the oil, to kill off heat away the oil, so that you then can eat the cashew. That's why you never see cashews in the shell. Very useless information for you, by the way. So, because you're never going to see it anyway, so what's the difference? So, ways to deal with the allergies or the sensitivities that you're having, or really just general health, is you want to eat more raw fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds. If you're going to eat grains, I don't recommend you do wheat ever, because wheat's the number 2 food allergen. You can do things like brown rice, millet, whole oats. Better choices. Now, I don't recommend you do a lot of those because they still are a sugar, and we want to stay away from sugars the best we can, but I'm also a realist. So brown rice has more fiber than white rice, and the fiber is going to slowly push the food through your colon and help you digest your food better. One of the things, I was just talking to one of my coworkers as well before I came on the air, and she's trying to lose weight, and she goes, I'm doing better, I'm just not losing the weight. And I said, well, one thing happens as we get older is our bowels don't work like they used to. When you were a kid, 2 to 3 times a day, no big deal, you're in, you're out. As we get older, it's a lot harder to have the bowels work because the bowels are a muscle. And just like all the other muscles in your body, they get weaker. And so you really want to eat a lot of fiber. So a little trick that you might want to consider is taking something like chia seeds. Now, she said she doesn't like chia seeds because when you soak them, I make a tea, any type of tea you like, put some chia seeds in it, soak them for about an hour or longer, and then you could just drink it. About 2 tablespoons, maybe a cup of tea if you want to. And she says, I don't like that slimy feeling because it creates a crunchy, slimy texture, which is really weird. So you can grind up the chia seeds and put it in oatmeal. You can put it in a soup or a salad. You can do that with flax seeds as well. Some people have bad gas if they eat a lot of flax seeds. So just be careful with that. If you do, maybe try chia seeds. And the fiber is going to help clean your bowels out, which is going to help you lose weight. And it's going to help flush toxins out of your system, and that'll help if you're having a lot of allergic reactions. It's got to clean out the system so the body's better able to deal with these the onslaught of these allergens. Supplements work really well. I take something called Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. I think you should too. I take it every day. It's sitting right in front of me here in the studio, as a matter of fact. And it's about 10 servings of raw fruits and vegetables, prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, and a complete multivitamin in a powdered form. Tastes great. I also have Dr. Joe's Super Greens, which has a greener flavor, if I can say that. It's not super sweet. Not that the Essential Source is super sweet, but the Super Greens are a little heavier. And so I take a scoop of each, mix it together. I use coconut milk or almond milk. Ran out of coconut milk one day. I used a little touch of apple juice. Just shake it up and drink it. It tastes great, and it gives you the nutrients that your body needs to help the immune system respond normally. It's the minimum amount of nutrients people should be taking every single day. And if you want more information on the Super Greens, the Essential Source, go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, #1 Dr. Joe in the world, and you could order it there. You can also order on Amazon, by the way, too. Amazon, we have an Amazon page, too. And upcoming soon, hopefully, day by day, I'm waiting. We're getting a shipment of something called Dr. Joe's Immune Booster, and that's Pau d'Arco, Echinacea, olive leaf extract, and that's going to help activate your immune system. And so when it is allergy time or cold and flu time, it really helps keep the body healthier. And then we're going to have something as well called Dr. Joe's Cold and Flu Tonic. And that stuff is ginger, horseradish, cayenne pepper, onion, and garlic, and we put that in apple cider vinegar. It tastes the way it sounds, pretty strong. But I tell you what, whenever I have an infection coming on, I'll take several dropperfuls of this every hour. It says take once or twice a day. I take it every hour. And it's pretty powerful. It's antibiotic, antiviral, and antifungal. And along with the immune booster, stimulates the immune system, and it makes life a whole lot easier, whether it's allergy, cold, flu. It's pretty cool stuff. And that's on the website, drjoeesposito.com. So there are other things. There's mechanical stresses that can actually cause or make you more susceptible to allergies. If you have an underactive thyroid, so when you get your blood work done, make sure you get your thyroid checked. It's not the end-all, be-all test, but it's very good. It's a good start. We talked about leaky gut earlier. If you're not digesting your food properly and your gut is all swollen and torn up, your intestines, you can be absorbing large chunks of protein. And if you have leaky gut syndrome, you need to really straighten out your diet to give the colon a chance to heal. A trick that works really well to get the colon to heal if you have leaky gut is eating a lot less food and doing something called fasting. Now, when you fast, there's several ways to do it. Number one, you can do just water, which is fine. And after the third day, by the way, you're not hungry. Just so you know, you're thinking, I can't eat. How can I not eat? I have to eat. After the third day, your hunger goes away. You can do a juice fast. I've had a lot of people do Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source fast. They just do that 2 or 3 times a day. They'll mix it with water. You don't want to add, you want to eat as little as possible. You can make your own juices if you want, but that's a lot of work. And that's why the Essential Source is so much easier. It's like juice in a powder form. And that gives your gut a chance to heal because all of us, all day, every day, in most cases, are digesting food. There's food in, there's food going through, there's food coming out. And so when you stop putting the food in, the body gets a chance to heal. It's just like if I have a scab and I keep picking it, well, it's not going to heal very well. But if I let the scab heal, stop picking at it, it heals a lot faster. And that's what we need to do with the gut sometimes. And those are big cases. And if you want to do something like that, I can always coach you through that. So some suggestions I want you to think about. And then if we have time, we'll talk about some allergy fighters that you never even thought of. Some herbs that might work. Neurological is the biggie, and this is the one nobody ever talks about. If you have a pinched nerve going to your immune system, your thymus, your spleen, your lymph glands, your tonsils, the brain sends messages down the spine, out the nerves, to every part of the body. And if you have a pinched nerve going to your thymus or your spleen or your tonsils, the brain isn't telling the organs how to work, and the organs aren't telling the brain that they're doing their job, and so you might have weakening of the organs. And that's the basis of chiropractic care. Chiropractic care, back in September 18th, 1895, when the first adjustment was given in Davenport, Iowa, was not designed to treat back pain. The first adjustment ever was done on a deaf man and brought his hearing back. Harvey Lillard was the patient. D.D. Palmer was the doctor. And so D.D. Palmer was a holistic healer. And his janitor said, well, Dr. Palmer, I felt my neck pop and I lost my hearing. So Dr. Palmer thought, what if I unpop his neck? And he did. And he got his hearing back. So Dr. Palmer thought he had discovered a cure for deafness. He didn't quite understand he had discovered chiropractic at the time. And since then, research has gone on for 100 and how many years now. And we find that Dr. Palmer was right on. He knew how to do it. He didn't know why it worked. Now we know why it worked. Still works. Whether you know how to do it, whether you know why it works or not, it still works. So we find that when you put the bones back in place and unpinch the nerve to the organs respond in a very positive manner. So you might have pinched nerves, and you never thought about that for an allergy issue, but you should. You want to start doing the rotation diet. We talked about that a while ago. Whatever you think you're having an allergy to, don't expose yourself to it for 4 days. On the 5th day, when you wake up on an empty stomach, expose yourself to a good amount of it. Like if it's cheese, maybe 2-3 pieces of cheese. If it's wheat, a couple of pieces of bread. And then take your pulse sitting down before you eat anything. Then eat it or spray the perfume on you or whatever it is. Wait about 5 minutes and take your pulse again. If it goes up 3 to 5 beats per minute or more, you're having a reaction to it. So I just saved you a ton of money on testing. How about that? So you can do the rotation diet. Again, rotate foods in and out and see if that works. Make sure you get a good quality air filter. And in my house, I have no carpets whatsoever. Because carpets are a breeding ground for toxins. So when I first bought the house, it had carpets, and that was many, many, many years ago. And I've taken all the carpets out. I've put hardwood and tile in. First of all, it's a lot easier to clean. I have an electric robot vacuum. Turn it on when I go out in the morning, come back, dump out the dust, charge it, put it in another room. Stuff works great. I love those things, by the way. So make sure the nervous system is working. Make sure you got good air. Make sure you're eating the right foods. It's not hard. You just have to take certain steps. And I promise you, once you do this, you'll say, like so many of my other patients have in the past 32 years I've been in practice, why didn't I do this sooner? Why didn't somebody tell me about pinched nerves affecting my health, about food affecting my health, about allergies and what they are? It's not hard. It's easy. Now you have the tools to do it. Now, folks, if you want to make an appointment to come see us, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We would love the opportunity. My team of doctors would love the opportunity to take you on as a patient and help you get well and stay well. So if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, acid reflux, heartburn, gas, bloating, diarrhea, headaches, come see us and let us work with you to try to get your body well. We'd like to get your nervous system working, your digestive system working, and get you on a good diet. So you can make an appointment on my website, drjoeesposito.com, all one word, Dr. Joe Esposito, or just Google Dr. Joe, number one Dr. Joe in the world, and we'll set you up a time to come see us. We accept people with all insurances. We accept people without insurance, car accidents, sports injury. I've never seen a car accident where the car was damaged and the occupants weren't, ever. So if you're serious about wanting to get well, go to my website and make an appointment today. We want that opportunity to prove to you that this is probably the best healthcare decision you've ever made. So again, the website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe. So other things we have to look at is soaps and hairsprays. And what you want to do is, or anything that smells. So what you want to do then is anything that has an artificial fragrance to it, stop using it. And there are alternatives that work better in most cases than what you're doing right now. I use something called Castile soap, which is a liquid soap. It comes in bars too. But it's a natural soap. It's perfectly fine. I like it. There's different flavors, if you will, or smells, peppermint and orange and hemp, and there's all sorts of different scents to it. But these are essential oil scents. They don't cause the reaction that the artificial perfumes do. And I use natural, fragrance-free clothes soap because I'm putting this clothes next to my body, and if there's something in there that's going to cause me to have an allergic reaction or a sensitivity to it, I don't want that happening. So make sure you're using absolutely positively scent-free, no dryer sheets. Please, folks, no dryer sheets. Dryer sheets have chemicals in them that create an oily film on your clothes. So they really don't make your clothes soft. They just create an oily film to make it feel slimy or slippery, so to speak. So that's why I wouldn't recommend you do dryer sheets ever under any circumstances. Supplements, we talk about that a lot. Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source. Most people just love that stuff. And in fact, I answered the phone the other day at one of my offices, and a lady screamed into the phone. And I was like, hello, are you okay? And she goes, oh my gosh, it's you, Dr. Joe. It really is you. And I was like, yeah, I answered the phone. Why did you answer the phone? Because it was ringing. So that's why. But anyway, she had run out. She was taking double doses of the supplement, and she ran out, and she's on automatic reorder. And she said, is there any way I can get an extra order sent to me? Because I was taking it because I was feeling tired, and it was change of seasons, and I wanted to stay healthy, and it worked. And I said, of course. So I put it through my, Mary, my person who does all my orders, and she ordered some more. So the Super Greens, the Essential Source, is just amazing. And so I highly recommend, if you haven't tried it yet, try it and notice how you feel. And then once you do, you'll be like most people, go right on automatic reorder, and you'll be very happy that you made that decision. And like I said, I can't imagine going a day without it because the stuff is just awesome. All right, let's talk about some other things that you may not have thought about to help you with allergies. Massages work pretty well because you have something in your body called lymphatics. Now, the lymph glands are filters that filter out viruses, germs, bacteria, allergens. And when you're sick, they filter out more stuff because you have this onslaught of viruses, germs, bacteria. And that's why when you get sick, you might have swollen glands in your throat. Those are your lymph glands. They're filters. And a massage can actually kind of squeeze the filters and get them cleaned out, like squeezing out a sponge. So a massage would work pretty well for that. Hot baths are great. You can go into a hot bath because when you raise your body temperature, it stimulates the immune system. So hot baths are wonderful. If you've never tried something called the Neti Pot, N-E-T-I, it looks like, like a little teapot, and you fill it with water and salt. The directions are on there, and you pour it up one of your nostrils, and it pours out the other nostril. Really weird feeling, I'm not going to lie to you. But it will flush out the sinuses if there's a lot of junk built up in there. If you have issues with pollen, maybe hire one of the neighbor's kids to mow your lawn. That works really well. And the other thing we need to talk about is making sure your digestive system is working to break down the proteins. And if you have acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating, chances are your digestive system isn't working properly. So your stomach may be pushed up into your diaphragm. And we may need to massage or pull your stomach down away from the diaphragm physically. It's an adjustment that we do in our offices so that the stomach stops pushing against the diaphragm, causing the acid reflux to come into your throat. Now, you may have burning in the throat. You may just have a chronic cough. You may have sinus problems. Almost every day, patients come into my offices and say, I didn't realize my acid reflux was causing my sinus problems. You think it's an allergy, and you're taking antihistamines, which can affect your liver and adversely affect your health, when in reality, it's acid coming up into your throat and into your sinuses. So many times, once we fix somebody's stomach and fix their nervous system, their, quote, allergies go away. So we have to make sure we're producing enough stomach acid and getting enough enzymes. That's why I talk about super greens, an essential source. Another one of the amazing things about that is it has enzymes in it. And enzymes can attack and break down swelling and viruses, germs, bacteria, and can ultimately help with your digestive system. So if you're having the acid reflux, we have to pull the stomach down away from the diaphragm. And that works really well. And in some cases, especially older people, I may put them on something like betaine hydrochloride, which is hydrochloric acid, that activates your pepsin and pepsinogen in your stomach, which breaks the proteins into the amino acids. Because as we get older, our enzyme levels do drop. It's part of the aging process, and it's a very simple thing to do, is just kick it back up again. Get them back up. So make sure your house is clean. That's why I said earlier, I don't have any carpets in my house. I have my electric vacuum. I love that thing, my little robot vacuum. Push it, go out, come home, clean it. This is probably the fourth. I've had them since they came out. And I just wear them out and buy new ones because they're, $300. They're not cheap. But the money I save in time, in aggravation, in not being around the house when I'm vacuuming, which can throw dust up into the air, is way more worth it. It pays for itself 1,000 times over. In fact, I really should do endorsements for that company. I really like what they're doing. Be careful what you eat, of course. And that's why I do recommend you do a diet diary. Go to my website, drjoeesposito.com. And under patient forms, you'll see diet diary. Print it up. It's my gift to you. It's free. And start writing down what you eat and then notice how you feel. And most people say, wow, after 4, 5, 6 days, I started to see that after I had pizza for lunch, I was exhausted. I was tired and I wanted to go home and I wasn't productive. Or gosh, after I did this, I wasn't any fun on my date, or I wasn't a good father. I got angry with my spouse, or I didn't go to church, or on my sporting activities, I couldn't work out. I was tired because you did something, but you never put it all together. And when you start putting all this information together, you say, oh, well, that makes sense. So be careful what you're eating. You'll see things like apples, cherries, pears, apricots, kiwis, plums, nuts. They might be causing problems. So green leafy vegetables like spinach, collard greens, kale, those are all pretty good. And most people don't have reaction to them. And by the way, you should be having one vegetable meal a day. I recommend something raw at every meal. Now, I say raw, broccoli, cucumbers, tomatoes, arugula. If you've never had arugula, it's like a lettucey type thing. It really has a nice flavor to it. It's a little bitter, but a good bitter. And it has 10 times more nitrates than beet juice. And beet juice, the nitrates convert into nitric oxide, which opens up your blood vessels and increases circulation. Arugula has even more. So if you need a burst of energy, maybe you have a date that night, if you understand what I'm talking about circulation-wise, try some arugula, and I think you'll be pretty amazed at the results because it's really going to convert into nitric oxide. Chew it real well, too, because the saliva activates it. Rosemary works real well as an herb. You can start using fresh sprigs of rosemary. I have it growing at my office. If you're a patient, come to my office. We've got huge bushes outside our office. Take as much as you want and start cooking with that. And sage, by the way, also works very well when it comes to that. So if we can get the nervous system working, the digestive system working, get on some good supplements like Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source, stay away from the things that are causing the allergens, fix your digestive system, I think you'll be very happy when it comes, whether it's an allergy, cold, flu, sensitivity, your body's going to be a lot healthier. So, folks, if you want to make an appointment to come see us, go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe with the number one Dr. Joe in the world, and we will set you up a time to come see us. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge, so we love the opportunity for my doctors to meet with you and help you get well and stay well. If you have questions, send them to me through the website, drjoeesposito.com. If you want to order Super Greens and Essential Source, once again, drjoeesposito.com. Also on Amazon, too. Now, I talk about car accidents a lot, and I have to say it over and over so you hear it in case you didn't hear it last time. I've never seen a car accident where the car was damaged where the occupants weren't. So if you've ever been in a car accident any time in your life, I really think you should make the appointment and come see us. The sooner you get to us, the better, but anytime you can is good. Again, the website, drjoeesposito.com, and just Google Dr. Joe. Hey, thanks for telling your friends about the show. Catch you next time.